Hey everybody, good evening. I hope you are having a happy Mother's Day. I'm looking for the live feed on my phone right now just so that I can see who's here and connect with you all. And that way, if you have questions you want to ask during this time, I can ask them in live time. I'm not seeing it, so I'm going to give it a few minutes. I'm going to let Jason try to find it. Oh, here we are. I see us. All right. So thank you so much. Hey, Brittany, glad you're here. Hey, Tanya and Amanda and everybody else. We're so glad that you're here, and I hope y'all are having a great Mother's Day today. Emma, since it's Mother's Day, is going to help me out. She's going to ask these questions. So just to catch you up in case you have no idea what's going on, last week, we started a survey church-wide, and in that survey, there was an opportunity for you to ask questions that we didn't answer in the survey, or questions that you're just wondering about. And so there were several great questions, and I want to go ahead and answer some of those for you right now. But if you have other questions, hey Blythe, hey Bill, hey Paul, if you have other questions that you'd like to ask, you can stick them in the comments and I'll glance in to check in. There's no new information from our emergency response team at this time. They meet on Tuesday, and so we'll definitely be giving you an update after they meet on Tuesday. We're looking forward to hearing what the governor has to say tomorrow in his address. But again, I just want to answer some of the questions that are on your mind that I can answer right now, or at least do that to the best of my ability. Hey, Darlene, glad you're here. So, Emma, give me the first question.
Viruses don't just go away, and a vaccine is a long way off. What, in your mind, constitutes the conditions that we will be allowed to return as we were?
So in case y'all couldn't hear that, the question had to do with what constitutes the conditions, in my mind, that would allow us to go back to worshiping the way we worshiped prior to this, knowing that the virus isn't just going to disappear, and that we all are aware that the vaccine is still a long way off. And so what I can just tell you is that first of all, it doesn't really matter what constitutes in my mind. It's really the whole emergency response team that's working on this. But I know deep down for me, I just don't want to see us be putting people in danger. And so I know that whatever we do going forward, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that worship is as safe as possible. I think this is kind of the $1 million question. Everybody would love to know what is it that needs to happen so that we can just to return to life as normal. And I honestly just don't have an answer for that right now. Everything that we're reading is that an environment like church worship or other environments where there's crowds of people inside of a room, where air circulation is going, but it's limited, and we're in that room for a long period of time, those are the most dangerous places for the virus to spread. And so we're just trying to figure out how we can work around that, because like you, I am really anxious to get back to the way we used to worship before. My heart and soul miss it so much, and I love doing what we're doing at home. I love watching the way that y'all are all growing spiritually with your families and at your houses, but there is something incredibly powerful about corporate worship that I miss so much. And as somebody commented in the survey, even when we do get to go back, a sterile environment where we have to stay 6 feet apart with masks on and not be able to maybe sing or do some of the other things that we used to do isn't going to fill this desire and this need that we have. So sadly, I can't just give a straight out answer to that. I don't necessarily have prerequisite conditions in my mind. I know the emergency response team is definitely praying about this and processing it, and I look forward to hearing what they have to say on Tuesday. And all I could ask is that you would keep them in your prayers as well, because this is definitely a tough decision to be made. Hey Dave, hey Nick, hey Dan, hey Val, glad y'all are all here. Next question, Emma.
Will we be able to have communion at the beginning when we return, or does it wait until later?
That is a great question. So I shared on Facebook earlier this week some guidelines that the Louisiana Annual Conference, our bishop and cabinet, worked on and put out for us. And in those guidelines, it does recommend that we wait and not begin having communion in person until we are in phase 2, according to those White House phases. So again, that's a decision that will officially be made and enacted through that emergency response team work. But probably not. We probably will not be having communion when we are gathering in person right away, but we do look forward to having it back later on. And I also think, or I can actually promise that we will continue to offer a way for you to have communion in your homes.
Next question?
Yes, next question.
Because the church building is still closed, where do we give during this time?
So you can still give by bringing checks up to the church. The church is, the sanctuary building is closed, and really all of our buildings are closed. The only reason the fellowship hall is open at this time is so that we can keep our food pantry open. As you all know, it's a crucial, very important mission of our church right now, and is such an important need in our community to make sure that folks who are in situations who are needing food can get food. But while our buildings are closed and while our staff continues to work from home, you can still drop checks off at the church. There is a box attached to the building that's being checked regularly. Our mail is also being checked regularly, and so you can send it to P.O. Box 693 as well. And then there's also an opportunity for you to give on our website, www.stcharles.com. stcharlesumc.com. So feel free to go there and place any kind of gifts that you like there. And again, I just want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you for continuing to give. It's your giving that's allowing us to continue our ministries and really have to, we're expanding and on this very steep learning curve of adapting so that we can do church virtually. And without your giving, we would not be able to continue doing that. So thank you so much for that.
At this time, will there still be 2 services?
So when we return, the question was, will there be 2 services? I think what's most important for you to hear is we may have multiple services, but they won't be the way that you previously experienced them. Like, we probably won't have 2 different types of services. We will probably have multiple services. It may even be more than 2 services, so that we can offer in-person worship for everyone who would be looking for in-person worship, and still keep our numbers below where they need to be. We're looking at probably around 50 people or less total gathering together. That's based on some of the research that's been done this week, and then some of the things that have come from the bishop and the governor. And so in order to offer enough services where we would be able to welcome anyone who wants to participate, we'll probably have at least 2, maybe more. That decision has not been made yet, and it will be made in the upcoming weeks. But what's important for you to hear from me right now is you probably won't get to choose between a traditional service and a contemporary service right now. And really, we're not even sure how much music will be able to be used in those in-person worship experiences at this time. So there will be multiple options. There will probably be some pre-registration that's necessary so that we know how many people are coming to each service, and that everyone who's coming is fully aware of what needs to happen in order for you to walk in those doors and for you to enjoy that worship experience.
Will masks be provided?
Masks, we are in the process of ordering masks. So the answer to that question is yes and no. Masks will be provided, but what we are asking is that you bring your own mask. So if you have a mask at home, which I really hope you do, because we really should all be masked up, when we're going out and about. So if you have a mask, please bring your mask and wear your own mask. And then we do plan to have some supply of masks on hand so that if anyone arrives without a mask, they will be given a mask so that everyone who is worshiping in this new kind of environment, especially if this is happening during like the phase 1, as outlined by the governor and the White House, masks will be required in order for us to worship together. So for that reason, we'll have a supply of masks on hand in case you don't have a mask. But if you have one, like I have one, I'm going to wear my own personal mask. I'm not going to rely on the church to give me a mask.
Final question. Could we have an outdoor service?
Final question here. I do see some questions coming in, so I will answer that. Can we have outdoor services? I will just say right now, I would love to have outdoor services. I love to be outside. As you can tell, every time I come to talk to you, I'm outside. So I would love to do outdoor services. The issue with an outdoor service is that the amount of planning and preparation that goes into a worship service for it to be contingent upon weather is just really a difficult call to make. There would be a lot of setup that would be involved in that so that the outdoor service would work well, so that everybody could hear and things like that. And then to possibly not be able to carry out and have worship is one of the reasons that we haven't already started thinking through that. I'm not going to say that it's off the table. Again, I am not making these calls, and so we did have a group of people this week, a group of about 5 folks from the emergency response team looking into all options, looking into worshiping outside, looking into worshiping in the sanctuary, looking into worshiping in the fellowship hall, and they are really going to be the ones that kind of make a recommendation to the emergency response team, and then that team will decide going from their recommendations. So I love the idea of worshiping outside. We've definitely tossed it around. I wouldn't say it's off the table, but there's just some challenges associated with that. Hey Judy, hey Yasmin, hey Janet, hey Miss Bobby, hey Amanda. Amanda has a question. Will online services still be available? Absolutely. I personally don't think that online services will change immediately, even if we went back to church as soon as possible. So the most recent information that we have on hand right now is if the governor does not continue any stay-at-home orders. Like if the stay-at-home orders are lifted on the 15th, our bishop has asked us not to return to worship until May 31st. We have, at the very earliest, she says, we have not made a decision as an emergency response team what we are doing yet. But what I want you all to hear, especially if you're a person who has been worshiping online and is enjoying that, we did see an overwhelming number of comments and requests in the survey data that said, please don't stop the online worship. Please don't stop the online worship opportunity, because it's been really helpful for me, and that's the way I plan to keep worshiping for a while. So my personal plan as your pastor is to keep offering that and to try to work in-person worship around that, so that for example, if you have an in-person worship service and then while the facility is being cleaned in between, perhaps the online worship services is happening and then maybe another in-person worship service, something like that. But online worship will not go away, and I hope to keep it similar to what we have right now, and hopefully if there are any changes, they will only be improvements. Yeah, I see some of y'all like that. Good. Well, I'm enjoying online worship as much as I can be, but I will say that it's been a learning curve, and it's been interesting, and I'm learning all kinds of new things, like how to talk to you through the camera, and hopefully you feel like I'm looking into your eyeballs right now. So it's been interesting, and I'm super thankful for seeing all of y'all on Sunday morning. I loved worship this morning, and I'm so thankful to all of the folks out there who are continuing to work super hard to make those services better and better every week. There's a huge team that I couldn't even list them all to you right now, but without them, we could not get this done. So I don't see any other questions. You are welcome to ask. If you have any other questions, I'm just checking. Oh, I see one. Oh, thanks, Jan. Thank you so much. Well, I don't have any other big information for you. Emma had to go to get on her youth hangout Zoom call with Miss Tanya and all of the other kids. But I just want to ask you, please, to continue to pray for me and continue to pray for our emergency response team. In case you're wondering who those folks are, I'm not going to ramble off all of the names right now. But essentially, it's our lead team, or what we used to call our church council, minus just a handful of people that can't serve right now or can't be involved for whatever reason. But they were all invited to participate. So you've got all of your major administrative chair people, as well as all of your ministry team chair people on that team working on this for you. So please keep them in your prayers. Keep me in your prayers. I also would ask that you keep our SPRC in your prayers. I know that there has been lots of questions about, letting Wes go and what's happening next. And they did meet last week, and they will meet again this week to keep working on that. And so just know that they have your best interest at heart, and know that they are serving you and praying for you as they work through this. And I believe that God is already working ahead of us and providing a new person that's going to come in and help direct our music ministry at the right time. So if there are no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and thank you all so much for tuning in. And don't hesitate to ever call. My phone number is 985-778-1155, or you can email me at pastor@stcharlesumc.com. I just want you to know that I am available to you, and don't want anybody to be overly stressed or worked up or anxious. Feel free to give me a call, and I'm happy to talk with you through anything. Yeah, Debbie Deal, thanks for saying that. I cannot put the link to the survey in here right now, and I don't know if Josh is watching. But if you have not done the survey, please do so. I will say we have 90 surveys turned in as of this afternoon. That's phenomenal. When we did the church transformation process, it took us like 3 weeks to get to that number. So we got 90 in just a week. So thank you so much for filling those out. And please, if you haven't filled one out, it's important to us, and we are really taking seriously what we're reading in there. So I love y'all. I miss you so much, and I look forward to talking with you again next Sunday afternoon. Bye.